Hi, we're the Thera Sisters, two sisters, therapists, and your new favorite podcast hosts. We're here to make therapy fun, comfy, and stigma-free. We chat with fellow healers and guests about their own healing journeys, how they help their clients heal, and how they see healing in a whole new light. How do you heal? Do you even know? Tune in and you might just find your perfect healing fit. Don't forget to subscribe and share with a friend who could use healing vibes. Giggles, glimmers, and a whole lot of heart. Healing together, one laugh at a time. Hello!
Hi! Hi!
Welcome to the Thera Sisters podcast.
Yay! Excited!
Yeah, so excited. Yeah. So we are here today with Dr. Aria Thome. She is a certified sound healer, Reiki master, gong practitioner, practicing shaman in the Munaki tradition, certified shamanic drum circle facilitator, and activist. She holds a level 2 sound healing diploma and a level 2 tuning fork certification from the esteemed Sound Healing Academy out of England. So much. And there's so much more. Yeah, there's so much more to dig into. But I think that is a great start.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you here.
So I'm between therapists, so this is wonderful for me.
Well, then let's dig in. How are you feeling?
Have you looked at the lighthouse?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a rough time. It's a rough time.
It's been a rough time.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling good.
Yes. So
here.
Yeah, rough times. Even more reason to take care of ourselves and heal.
Absolutely.
Yes. Absolutely. And I know that I've been to, I guess only at least two of your sound experiences.
Yeah, sound baths.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they are lovely. And
thank
they
you.
are healing. And I love how you walk around with your instruments and really I can feel it. And it is lovely. So everyone needs to go to one.
That's one of my favorite parts of doing sound baths is taking those individual instruments and walking. I feel to be a very sacred privilege to be able to walk into someone's energy and then to impart blessing and energy for their highest good, with different instruments, whether that's a gong or a flute or drumming over someone.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I like the phrase walking into someone's energy. Can you I'm curious now about your experience as, the sound healer.
Yeah. So, there's two types of sound healing. You can think of it in two different ways. You can think of sound healing in the public sense, where you go to a sound bath. You'll see a lot of gongs and either crystal bowls or Tibetan bowls. A lot of my training has been also on one-on-one sound healing, so doing personal one. So when I walk around, that kind of incorporates some of the personal sound healing aspects of it. But yeah, definitely, and when I train people, when I train gong practitioners, something that's very important is to be able to feel into the energy of the space and to tune into that. And from there, let that feeling and let that attunement of tuning yourself into the energy of the space dictate what is then played. So the idea is that the sound healer or the sound practitioner, use those terms interchangeably in the case of sound baths for sure, acts more as a conduit or a vessel, an instrument, or in First Nation, Native American terminology, maybe a dry bone, dry hollow bone. So that source energy or the divine or all that is, whatever terminology, fits your cosmology, comes through me and then informs what I do.
So it is real personal.
So it gets real personal because sometimes I'll be in a sound bath and it just feels like not much needs to be done, the gong. Whereas other times, just get this feeling that like a little more activation is needed. Same thing if I'm going over, like say everyone's always lying down for sound baths. But if I'm going over someone, with a drum, I might just feel into and feel like they need a little more drumming over this area than another area.
What do you notice? Like, what tells you that?
It's like an inner knowing. And that's the best way that I think I can describe it.
Sure. Is it like a feeling? Is it a physical sensation, or is it just like a
Sometimes it's a physical sensation. Sometimes like if I'm walking around someone with a gong, and if I feel like heaviness, I might stay a little longer in that area until it feels a little more fluid and flows a little more. And same thing with the drumming. If I'm drumming over someone's body and it feels, again, like I guess heavy or sludgy, just kind of, breaking up the energy seems like, the correct protocol at that time. Yeah.
Well, I'm curious because I've never done an individual sound bath. I've done group sound baths, and just to mention the sound bath that you did for us last year to thank all of our podcast guests. That was amazing.
Which was so much fun.
It was fun. It was in my backyard, which was so cool. I loved it. But so I'm curious. So I'm guessing in an individual sound healing session, like if you're walking around and you're feeling there and you're like, okay, here's some sludginess.
Right.
I'm gonna, drum this a little bit more.
Right.
So I'm curious if you have takeaways from that or interpretations of that you share with them at the end of the session.
I do. So every individual sound healing. So like say if you were to come to me for a sound healing, we would have an intake. We'd sit and just chat about what's going on physically, what's going on mentally, emotionally. So that gives me a sense of what areas, of your physicality or your energetic system might need work. And then within the sound bath, I do what's called an assessment. Got to be very careful with the word assessment because, it's a lot. I can't diagnose someone.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So do an assessment using sound instruments. So, I'll go over either, I can use different instruments. I prefer using, I have this one particular Tibetan bowl that sings really well for me when it comes to assessing. It'll tell me, like, in your chakra system, like, which chakras are excessive in energy, or which ones are depleted, or which ones are out of balance.
Does it give you like a tone?
Well, see, if I was to go over your body,
I'm so curious. Yeah.
Well, let's say I'm using a Tibetan bowl. What I would do is I would take the Tibetan bowl, hold it, run over your chakra systems, and say I got around to your heart area, and say there was like a sudden like sharpness or like an increase in volume. That would tell me that there's too much energy or that there's a blockage and that the energy needs to be broken up. However, if there was a depletion, if I went over there, the sound would actually dip. And like literally the volume of the bowl goes down.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
And so the same thing happens also, depending upon the session. I usually don't do it the first session, but if I'm seeing someone for the second or third time, then I'll do like a more in-depth, like look into their aura. And then I'll use the tuning fork.
Like, ooh, yeah.
Aura, tell me more.
Right. Look into my
Yes. But if they're laying on a, a table, and I'll take a tuning fork, and if one's curious, it's 144 hertz.
Yeah.
And then I'll start on the outside, like I'll ring it, and then I'll start on the outside, and move it in. And then again, if there's areas where, energetic blockages or imbalances, again, it'll make that same, like, either a sharp sound or like a sudden dip in energy, or like, suddenly like the fork might move like very quickly. So like there's almost like nothing there. So, chakra or the aura balancing is more timely, just because, you're walking around the entire body and, looking over, all sorts of places.
More than just the chakras.
More than just the chakras.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. And then you have different instruments, I guess, do different things. Like you mentioned, the drum might break things up.
Yeah.
Versus,
So,
a flute would do something different.
No, that's a flute. I do use a flute. Yeah.
Sorry. I'm just picturing.
I just have a little tin whistle and I just play in the corner, and everyone says it sounds pretty.
I'm sure.
And then they're healed.
Right.
It's magic.
Well, good magic.
No, so, you're absolutely right. Different instruments do different things. Take, for example, like Tibetan sound bowls. I have large Tibetan bowls that I position on stools, around the massage table, if you will. And they're tuned specifically so that they create what's called in musical terms an interval. And if you're not musical, you can just think of it in terms of, oh, that sounds nice together.
They complement
Or like,
each other.
right. Or, oh, that sounds horrible together. Why would you play those two tones together?
Sure.
Because the universe, the world we live in, it, is based on sacred geometry and harmony. And so those whole number ratios that are prevalent, let's say, like, in those different like geometric figures and sequences, like those ratios that we hear as pleasing from a musical standpoint, that is those very ratios and patterns are existing within like the molecules and atoms within our body. So when, say, I have a D flat on one side and then I put a G flat on the other side, if I play that for someone, or a D flat and an A flat, that's what's called a perfect fifth. On non-musical terms.
Ooh, you do have a doctorate.
I do. Yes.
So, a lot of this is
right. Just know that it sounds good.
Yeah.
All you need to know is it sounds good to your ear.
Yes.
So if it sounds good to your ear, it feels good to your body.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it's like the body's being tuned. So when your nervous system is kind of out of whack, to use very technical terms,
Yes.
out of whack.
I know what that means.
Yeah. Automatically, when I start playing those bowls around your body, I have them positioned in a way that's going to bring up the parasympathetic system and bring down the sympathetic system.
Okay.
So, like, immediately upon hearing that, your body is going to start to have a sense of safety.
Awesome.
You start to feel that safety, as if parasympathetic, not as if, because the parasympathetic system is being raised.
Mm-hmm.
And the nervous system is becoming a little more balanced.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's lovely and powerful.
Yeah. And like different instruments, again, to answer your question, because I want to come back to what you asked, like the gongs, for instance, those put out very.
I'm glad you remember.
A whole. I was trying to keep track, not just like run off on little tangents. The gongs, they have such an amazing sonic signature. They have undertones and overtones, which literally means like you have a note, which is which comes up of the gong, and you have tones that are under that, and you have tones that are over that. That play at less perceptible volumes or that are sounded at less perceptible volumes that are nonetheless present and have an effect on the physical body. But some of those higher imperceptible frequencies, which we call overtones, often help heal a lot that's happening in the higher energetic systems, like the emotional and the mental body of a person.
And there's like vibrations, right, with the sounds? Or
Absolutely.
yeah,
absolutely.
like sound waves,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And those vibrations, like let's say ping pong, for example, might break up energetic patterns.
Okay.
So you might have, let's say, a trauma from like when you were 7 years old. The body stores that as condensed energy, and a gong very well might break up that energy. And then, that trauma has then the potential to almost kind of like be re-released and then rethought of. It's interesting, which then you would, then integrate and kind of like, you start to integrate it into your life, maybe framing it, like thinking of it in new ways, so it's not always like a horrible,
and like an isolated incident. Kind of, I get in my head, I'm having this picture of like, just like particles, right? And they're all clumped together. And then I just kind of see them breaking apart.
It's very much like that.
Yeah.
It's very much like that.
Yeah.
One of the most often things I get after doing a personal one-on-one sound healing with people is they have random memories, like things they haven't thought about in years.
Interesting.
And those are just memories that have come up. Broken up, if you will. Come up for them that might need to be reprocessed and again then integrated into their current worldview and just into their system.
Interesting. Yeah. Do you often like couple or work well with like other therapists, like going through this process to help them break up these energies and then they go and they process them with a therapist, or is it like totally separate?
So after sound healing, after one-on-one sound healing, we do process together.
Okay.
And we talk about what came up for them, what I noticed, and I suggest ways that they can use sounds to help them further integrate and to work with whatever energy like might come up. So I might give them a mantra to work with, or some sort of vocal exercise, or different ideas of music that they can listen to. Although I am very careful, I do make sure that they know that I'm not a therapist. I don't have the license to prescribe anything to them.
Right.
So,
you can prescribe sound and music.
I can prescribe sound and music. I do.
Doctor. Yeah.
Yes. So I prescribe sound and music on the regular.
Right.
But, I don't pretend to be like a replacement for traditional therapy means.
But I can see how it could work really well.
Yeah. I mean, oftentimes, like, I'll tell someone to, they share what they want to share and they share as comfortable as they do. So if the sharing is at a level of comfortability that they, high enough, I'll tell them, like, seeing a therapist would probably be, very good complimentary. Like, this would be very complimentary to see a therapist.
Yeah. Definitely.
Or, if you're, on the intake form that I have them fill out, I find out on medication and stuff. And, I make sure they don't stop taking medication. But it's a complementary form of therapy.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Well, and, part of our podcast, Pair Sisters STL, is all the different forms of healing, and there isn't just one for everybody. There's so many different types of healing. And, some things work for others that don't work for some. You know what I'm trying to say.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, and I just think it's yeah, I love having all these different options and the different sciences, I guess you could say, and that like just the tones and the energy and yeah, yeah, it's great.
Right. Yeah, and it's great to see sound healing really start to pick up in St. Louis.
Yeah,
I would say as far as like the breadth of its popularity, St. Louis is still, I would say it's like it's in its toddler phase. You know, like because sound baths are very prevalent. You can almost go to those anywhere. A lot of people are doing those, but not a lot of people like I only know 3 of us in St. Louis who do one-on-one.
okay.
Real like individual sound healing sessions.
And so the shamanic piece, do you incorporate? Well, just tell me. Are you ready to? I'm curious.
Yeah,
Shamanic
we can
piece
go into that.
Connects in, or do you use it together, or
Yeah. So I study and being trained in the Shamanic tradition, which is up in Peru.
Okay.
And by a local shaman. And that training, which, that particular training has really helped me hone in and developed the whole idea of like working, with permission in one's energy fields and connecting energetically within someone else's energy fields and like getting intuitive hits and getting downloads, so to speak. From by way of connection through that and being able to kind of better interpret what I'm feeling. Because, say I'm working over someone's like heart chakra and just, if I get a sense that they just, that they just need more of these 2 forks at this interval, like forks and tuning forks, like if they just need more of that, like it'll come just as an intuitive pitch. Like I might not know the exact reason why, but if there's something, studying shamanism with a couple different teachers, if it's anything that's to like really follow your intuition as a healer.
Yeah, I was just thinking, you really seem to trust your intuition.
Yes.
And
I
that's a huge piece of all of
It's
your work.
It's trusting that.
from the outcomes that I get. Yes, it is. Because the outcomes tend to be usually fairly beneficial.
Yeah.
No one walks away saying like, that was a waste of time. Yeah. But, because there's techniques, there's protocols, I guess, like any form of healing, there's methods and techniques and protocols that you can always like revert to. But as far as when to use them, how to use them, how long to use them, you almost just like have to trust that intuitive piece.
And I think that's very similar to with like counseling.
Oh, I would. Yes, yeah.
Intuition of the energy that they bring in.
Yeah.
Because maybe we had this plan that we're going to focus on this, but maybe not today, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sure that's happened with you guys.
Yes.
As therapists.
I was going to say this resonates with me a lot right now, just that intuitive piece, because I am working with a supervisor right now, and we watch tapes, right? And so like she'll notice things that I'm doing that I'm attuning to that I don't really even notice that I'm doing in the moment, and she'll be like, oh well, we're doing this here and this and this and this, and I'm like, am I? Yeah, yay! Because I want to, and it is trusting your intuition and trusting the questions to ask and where to go with this.
It is.
And if you don't, and like you said, because there is a protocol, there are steps, there are these like other rules or things to go through.
Absolutely.
But and that's just like this guide for their intuition, I think. So I'm curious if the trainings, are the trainings similar to that in the sense that they help you trust that intuition and know what to do next and feel comfortable in like, I know how long to sit here, or
It was part of my sound healing training.
yeah.
Trusting your intuition. But I think it was more of a shamanic training that helped instill in me like more confidence in my intuition. If that makes sense.
Sure.
Like with the sound healing training, I definitely like knew to trust my intuition. But with the shamanic training, it was more like an imperative. Like you like have to trust your intuition.
Mm-hmm.
And it gave me better tools and techniques. I guess of like how to put yourself in situations where you are getting those intuitive hits.
Okay.
Sure. Okay.
Maybe assertion.
Yeah.
Assert that intuition a little bit more.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And I can't wait till we develop that more. Because I work with a shaman who lives in upstate New York, and his name is Jerry Walsh. He's a wonderful person. He, just worked with me on throat singing, overtone singing, didgeridoo, and just
Didgeridoo.
yes.
What's that? Is that?
It's native. It's native to Australia.
Okay.
It's like often, yeah, they can get up to 5 and 6 feet long.
Is it that big thing?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, exactly that sound. Yes.
Nailed it. Yeah.
But it was interesting because like studying with Jerry and then studying with Estefania, who is the local one that I'm doing the Munaki tradition with, and Chasky, the one I'm going to be meeting in Peru in 11 days. I can't wait to studying, with the family of shamans.
So,
just going to be fantastic up in the Andes.
gorgeous.
16,000 feet above sea level, getting sick every day, altitude sickness. But that really, studying with those three people really made me realize, kind of in the sense, like when you get your first tattoo, you're like, oh, that looks really nice. Oh my gosh, look at all this space on my body for more tattoos. You like have, you suddenly see all this space that you can put more and more. When you train in one healing modality, you're like, what other certifications can I get?
Yeah.
And so, after I did sound healing, I went right to Reiki, and then after Reiki, I jump circled as soon as I possibly could. And when I was like really wanting to dive deep into shamanism, besides, just reading all I could on the matter, I would stumble across like certifications online, and just none of them resonated with me. It's just like, no, that's nice, but that one doesn't seem like it's for me. And studying with these three other people really kind of like brought home the point that shamanism really is not, it's not something that you get like a certificate for. It's more of a way of life. So, I'm sure when I go down to Peru and, in a few days, like, there's not going to be shamans like showing me their certification,
Right.
or their credentials,
They have like some printed out workbook that you have to go through.
Right, exactly.
So it sounds like just the like you're going down there to just be immersed in it.
Yeah,
And that's your takeaway, to build that,
right.
to build those skills. And
Yeah, so I'll be partaking in a few ceremonies and, learning how to, like, the word in my tradition is Anyi, Anyi. It means kind of to be in right relations with nature. And Anyi. Yeah. And just to kind of like live that, and to be like just culturally like immersed, in their respect for all plants and medicine that they might give.
yeah, or you bring that back. Like I'm picturing, being in the Andes,
Yeah.
and then coming back to St. Louis.
Right?
Yeah. How do you make that transition or bring it into this world?
It's a really good question. I think it's
And please bring it.
Yeah.
oh, I will for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is especially like within the training that I've had so far, like everything's been very ceremonial and ritualistic. So I think one immediate way would be just like treating every individual sound feeling and treating every like public sound bath like almost as a ceremony in and of itself.
So like maybe not each moment, but a lot of moments are now, ceremonious in the way that they're special and important and
Absolutely.
ceremonial.
Absolutely.
I like that.
I mean, you can think of it almost like in a church-esque kind of way, where it's, it's like all the rituals and things that happen, like they all have significance, point to a truth.
Sure.
It's like everything that happens within a sound healing or within a sound bath, like it's a really specific purpose and it's done for a very specific reason. Like all the elements, like it's just not metal disc, hit metal disc, but everything has so much more meaning and so much more purpose. Yeah, when I know about a lot of the ceremonies that they do in that particular tradition and the one that I was studying when I go down there, everything is just very, there's just a really high level of intentionality to everything they do.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Is it sounds so like very intentional and
Yeah,
it's a way to slow down.
slow down,
And,
yes.
And it makes me think of like mindfulness and those kinds of things.
Yeah, and shamanism, I think, has such a mindfulness element about it.
Well, when you were saying it's like a way of life,
Yeah,
that's how I view mindfulness. It's just about you live your life more presently and, intentional.
Yeah.
right, exactly. I remember one RITE, right, of that I did with Anya, this was several months ago, was involved I think the ceremony itself was called, it was a fire ceremony of sorts, but essentially what you would do is you would walk around and find like 5 sticks that you would later infuse with like things that you want to let go of, like by blowing it into the stick, and pointing 5 sticks that infuse with energy, I think you want to bring into your life, and then you would then burn those, and that smoke, you would then walk into your solar plexus, you would walk it into your heart, and then you would walk it into your third eye. But a very important like instruction in choosing those sticks was like, ask for guidance and ask permission of those if they can be used for that purpose.
Okay. Interesting.
So, which is so not how we live.
Right. Would walk around and just grab.
Yeah, this looks good. This will burn. This will burn.
More cause and attention.
But it's very intentional.
It's connection to with the earth.
Right.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I can see, coming back to your question, like I can see it like just making me more aware and bringing more intentionality in the way that I connect with the client.
Sure.
Because you guys as therapists know, I mean, there has to be a connection.
Yeah. It's important. It is.
That is made
For sure.
when you're doing the work.
Well, when you talked about the sticks on the burning ceremony, reminded me of the sound bath that we did because we had a bonfire. And I did that through, and we breathed into the paper or We did something. Yeah, we wrote down because we had intention. I remember.
Yeah.
Things we're letting go and things we were bringing in. Yeah, that was. Yeah, so that feels.
It's very much like that. Just the intentionality. I think that more than anything actually helps. Go within it. Going through that within the shaman training, that's really informed how I do sound things and sound baths. Yeah.
I love it. So I'm curious, with all the energy that you're in and out of, I can imagine, do you take I can imagine you're taking in energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you take care of yourself? How do you, personally, release some of those things?
It's a big question. When I was first starting out, I didn't take very care of myself. And being empathetic, like you just, you're holding on to that. Let me take that from you.
Yeah.
Like you just tend to take on everybody's energy, and I would feel so worn out after sound bath or after one session, or just so drained.
Yeah.
And recently, like I've been, I don't want to put this into words, because I described the whole idea of like being a conduit of the energy. If I can feel myself like starting to get weighed down by what I'm feeling, coming back to the thought that like I am a conduit, I am an instrument.
That hollow bone.
That hollow bone.
It flows through me.
Yeah, it comes through me. Like I'm not taking it all in. Like that really helps.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And even sometimes like I'll use imagery, visualization, like about like that, and like I'll imagine myself just being like in this like white cloud of energy of like protection.
Mm-hmm.
And like even that helps me.
Okay.
As well.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's provable science that can explain that in some way. I've not taken part in those experiments, nor read any papers with empirical evidence.
There's got to be something.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But, there's been so much study on, on quantum physics and how it's all related to energy work and those Eastern philosophies and Eastern healing modalities. That it wouldn't surprise me if there was some study that pointed to the efficacy of having such a visualization.
Yeah.
But thinking of like just protective, light bubble around me, or being showered upon by like, golden white rain, to kind of like wash off any energy that is not mine.
I like that.
And also just like carrying the intention not to, because intentionality is like such an important thing, such an important component in any form of medicine. Me holding the intentionality not to take on,
Which you power and control.
Yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm.
It does, because like Irene said, I get around. No, I play in a lot of places. I get around. I played a lot of places and a lot of sound baths, and I don't think I'd be able to do it if I wasn't practicing some sort of like in-moment self-care.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I know that we were talking about how you started doing ice water bath.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So is that part of this healing?
That's part of my own.
Okay.
Yeah, that's been part of my own healing.
And it's definitely washing off, freezing off anyone else's energy.
Yes, that it does. So my friend Jerry, the one who's training me from New York, we do a Zen call every week. He kind of got me, really involved, or got me like hyped up to try this. And so I don't know. Sometimes when I get like an idea to do something, then like nothing else can exist in my world except doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like I went on Home Depot's website and saw this like animal feeding trough thing.
Yeah.
You know, 2 feet high, 3 feet in diameter. Yeah, I was like, this. Like, and I was in the middle of an online class, and I had Bluetooth headphones on, and I'm outside in the dark, like filling up this tub with, you know, hose water, like in the freezing cold in January, like listening to class as it's going on, and just turn my camera off and filling up the tub, and yeah, and so that was in January. It was on a Wednesday, and my birthday was then on that Saturday. So it took me like a couple of days to like
Muster up.
I was going to say warm up to the idea, or
yes,
hold up to the idea. I don't know. To warm up to the idea of like actually being able to do it.
Yeah.
And so I made sure I had a friend with me at the time, and things weren't frozen over like they got. So it was just water, and I was only able to stay in the water. You know, so I don't know. It was definitely below freezing outside, but it was on my birthday and the 11th of January, and I just, you know, it was one of those things that like, if I'm going to do it, I just need to do it.
Yeah.
I just kind of like, kind of ran to the tub and just jumped in. Yeah.
If you think about it too long, right.
Exactly.
Right.
Of course, then, you know, my body goes into this, you know, fight or flight, you know, rush of adrenaline, and it would just like get me out of here, you know, so I only lasted 30.
I mean, that is a lot. Still really.
When you're in a miserable place, 30 seconds is forever.
Yeah, it felt like forever.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was counting out loud.
I'd be like,
yeah,
I know.
But the day by and just you know, I'm a Capricorn, so I have a little stubborn streak. So like, I think it was like by the third day actually that I did it, that I was able to like, because they say it's like in between the 2 and 3 minute mark.
Okay.
That if you stay in somewhere between 2 and 3 minute mark, what you'll feel is like your body get into like a flow state where you stop with the like fight or flight kind of body's freaking out that you're in this, you know, below freezing water, and you're like, you settle and you're like, okay, I think I can do this. And so that's what I try to do. And today's February 6th. Yeah. So I've done it every day since.
Oh, you're almost to a month.
I'm almost to a month straight. Yeah.
That's a ceremony.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like, it's so weird. It's like, I look forward to it every day, actually.
Awesome.
Will you be able to do it when you're in Peru?
There are different bodies of water.
Okay.
There are like cold springs and rivers and stuff like that. Yeah,
That'll be awesome.
it will be. Though I won't have like, you know, the hot cup of tea I always have like afterwards, which is part of the ritual to me.
Right.
Or the, you know, fake electric fireplace to sit next to. But I'll have plenty of opportunity for things like that. Kind of what I've helped for me, you know, struggling with anxiety and depression, like it's helped build mental resilience and mental fortitude. And I guess physical, because there's like a physicality aspect about that. But yeah, I have found that like it would concentrate more. And being able to concentrate more has, it's also really helped like in the public work that I do, because like I feel like I'm able to stay in the moment longer.
Sure, that makes sense.
Because you want to stay in the moment as much as you can when you're doing like public sound baths or any type of filling work. You don't want to check out and like have your thoughts go elsewhere. Yeah, I guess I just realized that just now out loud. I didn't realize that, but yeah, that's been a benefit of jumping in.
For sure.
So, and there was one day, it wasn't on the the day where it hit the 70s, but there was one day where I was able to stay in like 16 minutes.
16 minutes? Isn't that past the 10s?
It is, and I was properly scolded by Jerry.
Then we don't need to do it.
No, you don't. He's like, that's nice and all, congratulations, but don't do that. Right.
Hand slap.
It was a little hand slap. I was a little bit bratty about it, and then he's like, yeah.
Well, that is amazing.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. And just, looking through that, and I think
Yeah.
it's too to even come to your own revelation as you talk through it of like, this is what's been so beneficial of it for me.
Yeah.
Right? Staying in the moment, the being present, the intentionality.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Because it started out, and it continues to be something that's very important, my self-care.
Mm-hmm.
And you were asking about like, what I do to myself.
Yeah.
Like establishing a self-care practice is huge.
Mm-hmm.
So, I begin every day and start every day with meditation. I journal frequently, and I live with off breath work.
Familiar with breath work, but not so much.
Wim Hof is a specific method.
Okay.
Often used in tandem with ice plunges. Just because of the person who, with the breath work. Wim Hof, yeah. But, definitely the meditation, the journaling, the cold plunges, all of that has been, like, those are, even things like, ensure, like, the space that I live in is, like, not cluttered, but is like visually appealing and visually embracing to my eyes. I found that to be important. So like doing things like that, like, helps to keep my energy, I think, in a good place.
Very good. Yeah.
And I notice, I can notice when I'm not doing that. Like the house gets cluttered, or I'm like, oh, I'm good today. I don't need to meditate this morning, right? Or
Some heavy energy to do.
yeah, or something like that. Or it's like, I've plunged one day in a row. Do I really need to go today?
Right.
Now looking back, it's like, well, yes, every day.
That's a different piece too. Because like for me, that's like a discipline piece as opposed to like a motivation piece.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, for sure.
I always, but like when I learned that motivation can be fickle, you can't rely on motivation. And when I learned that it's more about discipline that you can rely on, that was just something that really helped me. And that's what stood out for me in that of like,
oh yeah.
it's like the discipline is what's keeping me on track. The discipline, of continuing to do it even because it's working,
Right.
to not take a break.
Because I can promise you there were days that I did not want to do it.
Right.
Yeah. And the discipline is what will keep you doing it in those days when you don't want to do it too.
Right.
Because it's like, this is part of what I do. Yeah.
Right.
And I know that it's going to help. Even if right now it's like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then doing those self-care disciplines, like doing them kind of like also helps to motivate me.
right, because there's that physical piece of it, right, that with the dopamine and all of that, which just helps with our motivation. But again, it's more of an emotion.
Yeah.
Motivation.
Yeah. And so, doing those self-care tasks and staying on that routine, motivates me to continue doing that because I know that it'll help in public and in private. Like if I can take care of myself, then I will be able to show up better for others.
Exactly.
So that's a big part of why I take care of myself, or work really hard to take care of myself.
Yeah. Because, it
That's the work that we do.
It absolutely does.
And your life, which is awesome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Which I guess this to bring us to the moment in our podcast where we bring giggles and glimmers.
Oh, fun.
So just curious about, if you can think of something that might have made you laugh, and or that glimmer, of those moments where you felt gratitude, or really connected to someone, or to yourself, or
pride, even. Yeah. So,
Oh my goodness. Let me think. So the glimmer is the one that, like with the gratitude.
or even just like, yeah.
And sometimes I even just think of it as a moment where it's like I felt a pause and I could look around and just be like, this is a moment. That like, do you have something coming to mind you could share? Well, I guess, yeah, sure. Something just popped up.
Yeah.
And it's really just, there was a moment where I was looking at, I think it was one of the nice days over the weekend, and we had gotten our bikes out, and we took our bikes out to go on a bike ride, and I came inside, and my husband and my daughter were putting the bikes away, and I looked out the window, and they were playing like those hand-tied games.
Yeah.
Together. And I remember just standing there watching them, being like, oh, this is really sweet. Oh, nice. They're having this beautiful connecting moment, and like, I don't know. It was just like a really nice moment.
That's so beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah. I think a moment that like brought me such joy is like I was having yesterday was a really bad day. Like a lot of the headlines getting to me, and just had a lot of emotional moments yesterday, and I sat back like in a chair, just kind of I was very tearful, and my cat just jumped on my lap, lay down. It's Adagio, and Adagio knows exactly what no one needs.
I see that warmth and that just love.
Yeah, exactly. Just think about it now. I miss him, and I've only been gone from him like for like an hour and a half. I know. Love for me. Yes. Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah. And as far as laughter, like you two make me laugh.
Oh, good. You have been giggling.
Yeah, you have been.
You've been hanging out.
Like you two remind me, like when I was growing up, like my sisters. Like I was, like I would say I'm not as close to them as I, but like not as close to them as I was growing up. Then things are different dynamics now. Hearing your guys' laughter just reminds me of this kids growing up, and all reading back of the boxes of cereals and fighting over who gets to read this one, or
or the prize that might have been
right, and how all of us are just digging our gross hands into the bag of cereal, and
giggle.
yeah, absolutely.
Then we could bring you some good stuff.
And just the warm presence that the two of you have when I got here was just so inviting and so welcoming. Like when you live by yourself, like you forget, like, what it's like to come home to
Another person.
laughter and just, yeah. So I think that would be my glimmer. Or, yeah.
Thank you.
I'm so glad we could do that for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I get to say giggles and glimmers. I asked the question and I was listening, so I haven't thought of anything. Let me think. Hopefully.
The anticipation.
And then a genie will come up. Right. Well,
No.
I guess it's kind of a giggle and a glimmer at the same time. So you have Desi, and we've had her now for, our dog. And we've had her, I guess, in September or so, and she's just such a goofball. I love her so much. So we put this gentle lead on her muzzle, her nose area to walk, because it makes it so much easier to walk her. And so when I come home and I take it off, she just darts to the couch and like rubs her nose in the cushions and couching us to scratch it. And it just makes me laugh all the time because she's just like pouncing over there. And then just, the glimmer of,
She's just,
We get so lucky with our animals, and she's just wonderful.
Our animals are lovely.
I know. They really are. I love them so much.
Yeah.
So giggles because she is a good She's
Yeah.
and very cute. So
Mm.
yeah. On the last piece, we have time for our last piece. We'll go over a little. Following a
Ooh.
question from the bowl. Yes, random question. Very anonymous. We don't even know what the questions are.
I'm going to show it.
Yeah. The Chuda bowl by Betty. It's a famous bowl. It'll become the famous bowl.
Okay.
And then all three of us answer. Take our own time to answer.
Okay. Are you both ready for this?
All right. Maybe. I don't know.
What's the most embarrassing thing that happened to you at a grocery store?
Grocery store. Interesting. That's very specific. That is.
It's a good question.
Embarrassing thing at a grocery. Have I been embarrassed at a grocery store? I mean, sometimes it's embarrassing to buy tampons and there's like a 15-year-old boy checking you out. That can be a little.
Sure.
He's probably not even looking. You're not fair.
Trying to think. That would be a grocery store.
I mean, this is totally off. I mean, not. I have a story.
Yeah. Do it.
Yeah, a story. It's not me being embarrassed. It's me, or it's actually our cousins embarrassing our mom.
All right. That works.
Can we count it?
Yeah.
So we're getting to our cousins. So I like
a lot of nicknames.
Yeah.
I would come up with a million nicknames for our mom. Yes. Her current nickname is No. But I used to call her Moops and Moopaloo and Murrin and Burnmo and whatever I'd call her.
Right.
And so they went up, it was like Target or something, and they went and they like announced her loudspeaker over there. They're like, will Murrin moo? Release to the customer service desk. And she was like shopping around and she's like, what? So, I mean, maybe I don't know. That's silly. It's not me being embarrassed.
That's hilarious.
We can also embarrass her on, right? Thanks, Mom, for the embarrassing
Right?
story.
Does your mom watch these?
Oh, I doubt.
Probably not.
Oh, okay.
She might if we, like, taught her how to her. Yeah.
Right. Oh my gosh. I don't know if that was embarrassing because no one else witnessed it. It's like the only grocery store memory like worthy of retelling that I can think of. Okay, so when I first came out as a trans woman, I was in my early 30s. It took me a little longer than
Sure.
everyone's on their own timeline, right? Everyone's on their own timeline. So, it was like right after that, like, aha, grand awakening kind of moment. I was shopping, and I was living in Arizona at the time, and it came to me, the medicinal area, and I was like, do I buy men's vitamins? Not do I buy women's vitamins?
Yeah.
It was just like I don't know what to do. Like, someone just pick one for me. Like, it was, it's like I didn't have I didn't have any trans friends when I came out.
Sure.
Just because of like the circumstances I was living at the time, and it was just by that time, the aha moment, like I hadn't done like enough research like into the physiology or any part of it, and it was just kind of like one of those ends, or I don't know which one to buy. I ended up buying the women's.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Because I'm a trans woman.
Right.
And
I'm transitioning.
I just never stay woman. I'm a woman.
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm embracing it. Yeah.
I embrace it.
That's powerful.
So it ended up being like a really empowering moment.
Yes. I am a woman, and these vitamins are here to.
Yes, to support me.
Yes.
Yes. But it was definitely a moment of pause.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like an everyday moment that has a ceremonial piece to it.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks for sharing that.
Oh my gosh, you're welcome.
That is a glimmer. I would say that's a glimmer. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, that is.
Well, yeah.
I think so. That counts as both.
Right. Well, we appreciate you.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
And walking us through so much, helping us understand
more of
what all the sound healing is about. And getting a little vulnerable with us. I appreciate that. I always love those pieces of humanity.
Thank you for holding such a beautiful space where I can just feel comfortable being me.
Yes.
Getting to nerd out on sound and shamanism and all that beautiful stuff.
Yeah. And thanks for sharing all of that and being here with us.
Yeah.
And your energy.
Oh,
Beautiful.
absolutely. Grateful. My heart's grateful.
And then the very last part is, do you have anything else to kind of promote or just let people know, like your website, where can they find you?
Yeah. My website is Aria Sound 101.
Okay.
Instagram is probably also a very good way to get me. My handle is at Aria_sound_108.
Okay.
Yeah, those are probably the two best ways to reach me. I did want to plug, if I could.
Please.
I am working with a writer right now, writing an autobiography called How to Compose an Aria.
Love that.
And it's all about, basically it's all about how to like retain your spirituality and your sense of staying connected to a divine God or whatever you think of. Having suffered religious trauma, growing up in a very conservative Catholic households, and receiving messaging that who you are is less than, who you are is somehow inherently disordered. And kind of some of the trauma that goes with that. I host a monthly healing circle online called Project Sanctuary, and it's for people who have been through religious trauma. And it's
Okay.
yeah,
That's a great resource. I'm writing it down.
Just because
and
Project Sanctuary.
Project Sanctuary, people sign up and they get sent a Zoom link once a month, and for anyone who's been through, mostly it's queer individuals, who, it's open to anybody who fits the category of, experiencing religious trauma of some kind. But yeah, I have a book coming out, probably July or August of next year. So hopefully people can,
We'll stick with
anticipate that.
Sure.
How to compose an aria.
We'll have to have you come back.
Yes.
It's ready for people.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's about, so it's about how to retain and not how to. So it's not like, some of the words like not rejecting everything that you grew up with, but like how to still have some sense of spirituality intact. Like spirituality, I guess that's kind of frustrating. Wasn't done so in the correct way.
So being able to kind of hit the pieces that resonate, love, and
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we are Therasister.
We are the Therasister.
Yes, you can check out our website, therasistersstl.com. Sign up for our newsletter. We're writing blogs. We are having events throughout the year. And we are excited to provide these places of talking about healing.
Yes. Yay.
Giggles and glimmers. Giggles and glimmers.
Stop. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Therasisters podcast. We're so glad you tuned in. Don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter for more healing goodness, events, laughs, and all the good stuff we don't want you to miss out on. Until next time, wishing you giggles and glimmers. Okay.
Out.